Girls, what hints did you drop that guys were just too dumb to get? I used to work as a bartender. One day, my favorite regular came in, and I waved his tab and said, "Drinks are on me today." He joked like, "Bet you say that to everyone." And I replied, "Nah, only to the cute ones I like." He looked at me, kinda awkward, and said, "Well, glad to be the exception to the rule." I mean, you're working. And we're told girls do stuff like that just to get tips or be polite. We spent the whole evening cuddled up watching a movie. When he was about to leave, I tried to kiss him goodbye, but he pulled away and just left. I was super upset and went back to my room in silence. Like 10 minutes later, he calls me and goes, "Hey, can you come outside?" I walk out and he's standing there freaking out, yelling, Wait, did you just try to kiss me? Do you like me?" Turns out this dude had to step away to call his buddy, to double check if me trying to kiss him meant I liked him. Honestly, there was this girl I used to hang out with. One night, we cuddled the whole time watching movies. She had her legs over me, her hand on my chest, leaning in close. So I went in to kiss her and she pulled back and said, "Yeah, I don't like you like that." This one's not about me, it's about my old best friend, who also happened to be my roommate. There was this girl who had a massive crush on him. She came over to swim, then took a shower, and left the bathroom door kinda open. She hinted that she couldn't really reach the middle of her back. Dude walked into my bathroom, grabbed a long-handled brush, tossed it into the shower, and shut the door behind him. After she finished, she walked over to me, handed me the brush, and left. I went to him and asked, "Bro, why did she do that?" And he just goes, "She said she needed something to scrub her back with." I was like, "She didn't need something. She needed you." Dude looked me dead in the eyes and said, "But she had a brush." So I texted her like, "Yeah, sorry, my buddy's not the brightest. You're gonna have to be a bit more direct." 2 minutes later, he bursts into my room, shoves his phone in my face. The message says, "On my way, be naked." I gave him the place and went to the movies. My mother-in-law met her husband when they were both teenagers working at a pizza place. She really liked him, so in her free evenings, she'd stop by just to help him chop tomatoes and onions. She kept dropping hints for months, but the guy just wasn't getting it. One night, she brought over some Hershey's Kisses, was about to put them in the fridge, and suddenly asked, "Do you like cold kisses?" He said, I kinda prefer warm ones." She smiled, leaned in, and kissed him. Only then did he finally realize she liked him. She still blushes every time she tells that story. Says it was totally out of character for her, but something inside told her to go for it. They've been married for 40 years. Back in high school, my idea of flirting was acting like I couldn't stand the guy, like he was the most annoying, unbearable dude in the entire school. For some reason, that didn't really get the message across. No clue why. I told my now husband probably 6 times, "Wow, you're such a great guy. I'd totally date you," every time he mentioned how lonely he was. The last time, he finally looked at me and went, "Wait, seriously?" Just to clarify, a lot of people are saying I wasn't being clear enough. So here's what I literally just said to my husband. Sorry I wasn't more straightforward when we first started talking. Saying "I date you" wasn't exactly the clearest way to say I wanted to date you. He accepted the apology. Lonely, offended guys can leave the chat now, only the real ones, who want to share their experience, stick around. There was this girl I worked with. She kept dropping hints, hugging me and stuff. One day we were talking about the upcoming fair. Here's how that convo went. Her: "The fair's coming up, I love it so much." Me: "Yeah, me too." Her: "Man, it'd be so cool if someone went with me." Me: "Totally, same." Her: Me: "Well, good luck. Hope you find someone to go with." I wore the crown king of the idiots. Same thing happened to me with my now wife. She wanted to see Star Wars, first sequel, and said she had no one to go with. I looked her straight in the eyes, knowing I'd give anything to be with her, and said, "Yeah, that sucks," and walked away. After mentally slapping myself, I pulled it together and asked her out again. But I didn't say it was a date, so she had no idea if I liked her or we were just hanging out. I placed his hand on my chest, and he got all nervous and asked, "So, how was your day?" I invited him to check out my new bed sheets and, well, give them a little test drive. He just said it's not really my style. Anyway, we're engaged now and expecting a baby. I was chatting with a girl at a bar, and we ended up talking about kissing. I asked her how you can tell when a girl wants you to kiss her, and she said, "You grab her by the neck and pull her in." I was stunned. I thought, maybe she wants me to do that right now. But what if I'm wrong and it offends her? What if it turns into a whole thing? In the end, I couldn't do it. I was too hesitant and overthinking everything. Looking back, I regret not kissing her. He straight up asked me for a hint about who I had a crush on. I looked him in the eyes and said, "This person has brown eyes." He didn't get it until he looked in the mirror. Anyway, it worked, and we've been together for a year now. Edit. I didn't want to make it too obvious at the time, because things were still kinda unclear, even for me. I wasn't sure how real my feelings were yet, and we weren't that close, so I didn't want to say it outright and risk pushing him away. I told him about a month later, and he got really flustered. But now everything's great, so yeah, problem solved. I'm not great at picking up signals, but I managed to catch this one. She climbed over the table in a packed bar, looked me straight in the eyes, and sat down on my lap. One time at a wedding after-party, this girl told me, "I was hoping to have some fun tonight, if you know what I mean." She said it twice. And all I said was, "Well, good luck with that." I know how bad it sounds, but years of low self-esteem really mess with your brain. Back then, I couldn't even imagine someone like her would actually want to hook up with me. I was head over heels for this girl, and it was obvious, to everyone but me, that she was even more into me. She apparently told other people about it too. But when I finally started pursuing her, compliments, care, the whole thing, she started acting really weird. She became super rude to me, completely dismissive, and wouldn't even let me get close. So I did what anyone in my shoes probably would have done. I met someone else. Someone amazing who actually liked me back. We had a great relationship. Not forever, unfortunately. But honestly, it was a beautiful time, and I don't regret it. Right after I got back together with my ex, this rude and weird girl went around telling her friends how crushed she was. And even though she knew I was with someone, she still tried to hit on me, even 2 or 3 years later. She even flirted with me a few times right in front of my girlfriend. If you like someone, just act like an adult. Be honest. Leave the middle school games to actual middle schoolers. Here's a story about why hints don't work on blockheads like me. This girl literally told me she liked being touched and wouldn't mind at all if I was the one doing it. So one day we had this conversation. Her, "Want to come over to my place?" Me, "Why would I?" Yeah, I really know how to connect with women. Her, "I mean, I could take that personally, you know." Me, "Please don't. I'm just socially awkward." Her, "Well, if you come over, there won't be much talking involved." Me, so what would we even do then? Just sit there and stare at each other? Conversation ended right there. It took me a solid 1.5 years to realize what I had done. I booked a room with just one bed for a trip I planned for the 2 of us. He didn't get the hint. I had to resort to that after a long string of subtle signs had already flown right over his head. He was my best friend before I fell for him, and even after missing a few more painfully obvious signals, I finally just kissed him. That's when it finally clicked. We've been together for a year now. Edit. Obviously, I sent him the hotel link and asked if he was cool with it before booking anything. Like, come on, who thinks I just blew money on a trip without even asking him? It wasn't some surprise ambush. Nobody plans a trip with a friend and pays for everything without making sure the other person is on board. Also, he had a crush on me from the moment we met. So yeah, it's not just guys who miss the signs. I ignored a few hints myself. Yeah, we're just so used to thinking, what? No way, that's not a hint, just a coincidence. It just happened. There's gotta be another reason. Don't overthink it. A kiss is basically the only signal we can't explain away. But even then, if there's room to rationalize it, we will. You all suck at giving hints, and it's even worse when we're friends. Like, how am I supposed to tell if you suddenly caught feelings, or if we're just still friends? Since this keeps coming up, let me just say, if we guys try to get some clarity and ask what's going on, we'll either get, "That's not what I meant," or, "Well, this is awkward now, we can't even be friends." So either way, it's a lose-lose. If we miss the signs, we're idiots. If we do react and try to figure out your cryptic messages, we're overthinking it. Or worse, we're hitting on you out of nowhere. The fact that we're constantly talking about this honestly drives me nuts. Not because I'm some clueless virgin, but because we pretend to be progressive. Just because we can have these conversations. But they don't change anything. How many times do we need to talk about this before something actually changes? Let's actually be open. Let's break the gender norms for real. We pretend we're more emotionally intelligent and open with women than past generations. But in reality, all we do is talk. We don't actually do anything differently, and that pisses me off even more. Thanks for watching, legends. Ladies, tell us in the comments, what painfully obvious hints did guys heroically ignore in your life? And hey, don't leave without checking out our other videos. They're just as full of clueless energy. Big hugs. Later, folks.